Have you ever wondered why some people seem unshakable while others crumble under pressure? Why do a few individuals thrive in chaos while many retreat into comfort at the first sign of challenge? If you're tired of feeling stuck, of avoiding the hard conversations, of playing small, this is your wake-up call. Discomfort isn't your enemy, it's your greatest ally, but only if you choose to see it that way. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you're ready to transform your mindset and take control of your life, because what you're about to hear might just change everything. Comfort is the cage. Modern life sells us comfort like it's the ultimate prize, but the truth is, it's a trap. We're bombarded daily with conveniences, instant delivery, streaming entertainment, ergonomic everything. Society glorifies ease and convenience as if they were synonymous with happiness. But comfort, when left unchecked, becomes sedation. It lulls us into passivity and slowly erodes our drive. The more we surrender to comfort, the more we lose the edge required for growth. Over time, comfort doesn't just cradle us, it cages us. We forget how to be uncomfortable, and in doing so, we forget how to evolve. Comfort numbs your ambition, it dulls your instincts, it turns your sharp edges into soft excuses. There's a slow corrosion that happens when you prioritize comfort above all else. The ambition that once burned inside you becomes a flicker. Your instincts, once honed for survival and challenge, get buried under routines of ease. Instead of waking up with urgency, you wake up with entitlement. You start rationalizing the bare minimum. You talk yourself out of risk, out of growth, out of effort. Your edges, the parts of you capable of cutting through adversity, become soft, hesitant, untested. Comfort convinces you that you're fine where you are, even when you're not. When we avoid discomfort, we're not escaping pain, we're just delaying it, and often we're amplifying it in the long run. Avoidance doesn't eliminate discomfort, it just buries it deeper. Skipping hard conversations, ignoring personal flaws, choosing the path of least resistance, these are all comfort-based decisions that breed long-term dissatisfaction. The pain we dodge today becomes the crisis we face tomorrow. Emotional weakness festers, poor health compounds, lost time becomes haunting. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the invitation. Running from it doesn't save us, it sabotages us. Think of the Stoics. They trained themselves to embrace voluntary hardship, cold showers, fasting, walking barefoot, not to suffer, but to build control over their mind. Stoic philosophers understood that strength wasn't built by waiting for hardship to arrive. It was forged by seeking it on purpose. They practiced poverty to appreciate wealth, endured discomfort to sharpen discipline, and invited suffering so they wouldn't be surprised by it. They weren't masochists, they were architects of resilience. Every discomfort was a rehearsal for life's inevitable storms. Their minds became tempered steel, not by avoiding hardship, but by engaging it. Freedom isn't found in ease, it's found in mastering the parts of ourselves that crave the easy way out. Real freedom doesn't come from external convenience, it comes from internal mastery. You're not free if you can't resist a craving. You're not free if fear of discomfort keeps you from taking action. You're not free if your life is governed by what's most comfortable. Freedom means ruling over your impulses, not being ruled by them. And that means choosing the harder path when it's the right one. True liberation begins the moment you stop running from discomfort and start using it as fuel. 2. Discomfort builds mental armor. Every moment of resistance, waking up early, speaking up when it's hard, pushing one more rep, is a brick in the fortress of your mind. Discomfort, especially when chosen, is one of the most powerful tools for mental transformation. Each time you push through the resistance, whether it's physical strain, emotional vulnerability, or the effort it takes to maintain discipline, you're constructing the framework of your resilience. These are not just isolated acts of willpower. They are the foundational moments that fortify your mind. One by one, these choices become the walls that protect your purpose when storms hit. You're building a fortress not for show, but for survival. Discomfort trains your discipline. It stretches your willpower. It forces you to grow stronger than your excuses. Discipline isn't born in comfort, it's earned in the trenches of resistance. When you feel like quitting and choose to persist, you're not just succeeding at that task, you're reshaping your identity. Each challenge you endure increases your tolerance for future discomfort. You become harder to shake, harder to manipulate, harder to defeat. Your excuses, once so persuasive, start losing their power. You grow louder than the voice that says, "Not today." When you willingly step into discomfort, you send your brain a message, "I run this." The moment you lean into discomfort, you're rewiring your brain. You're telling your nervous system, your beliefs, and your habits that you're in charge. You're training your body to stop recoiling at the first sign of challenge. You're building a neurological and psychological pattern of courage. That message, "I run this," is more than confidence. It's control. It's a declaration that you are not a slave to ease. You are the master of your moment. And that message becomes a belief. That belief becomes identity, and identity shapes destiny. Who we are is not written in stone, it's written in repetition. Every time you prove to yourself that you're capable of doing hard things, you add weight to a new belief system. You begin to see yourself as disciplined, focused, driven. That self-perception alters how you behave, how you speak, how you set goals. Identity isn't a fixed label, it's a living construct. And once you identify as someone who thrives in discomfort, your trajectory shifts. That's when discomfort stops being an obstacle and becomes your edge. You don't rise to the level of your dreams, you fall to the strength of your training. So train where it counts, inside the fire. Dreams are built on discipline, not desire. Everyone wants greatness, but only the trained can sustain it. In moments of pressure, you don't magically elevate, you revert to the habits you've built. So train like your future depends on it, because it does. Seek out discomfort and make it your training ground. It's in those hard, sweaty, uncertain moments that your mind becomes unbreakable. You're not just surviving fire, you're becoming it. Number 3. Embrace the struggle. Redefine failure. Most people fear discomfort because they fear failure. But failure isn't the end, it's the doorway. Failure has been wrongly framed as a verdict, but in truth, it's a transition. It's not a period, it's a comma. The fear of failure paralyzes people more than failure itself ever could. But when you learn to see it as feedback, not judgment, the paralysis ends. You stop seeing failure as a reflection of your worth and start seeing it as a reflection of your process. You realize that failure is not the thing to avoid, but the very path through which mastery is born. The Stoics taught us to detach from outcomes and focus on effort. Struggle isn't weakness, it's feedback. The Stoic mindset was never about winning in the world's eyes, it was about winning in your own. They believed virtue lay in the process, not the result. Whether you succeeded or failed was irrelevant if your effort was aligned with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. To the Stoics, struggle was sacred. It showed you where you lacked, and in doing so, showed you where you could grow. Struggle didn't signal defeat, it signaled opportunity. Every failed attempt, every awkward step, every rejection is data. It's instruction, not destruction. When something doesn't work, it's not personal. It's information. The job you didn't get, the idea that flopped, the plan that unraveled, these are not the universe's way of mocking you. They are signals. They teach you how to refine your approach, sharpen your skills, reevaluate your assumptions. If you can treat failure as a lab report instead of a death sentence, you'll progress faster and more intelligently than those who always play it safe. When you stop avoiding struggle, failure loses its power to humiliate. It becomes part of the process, part of the win. Humiliation from failure only exists when your identity is tied to perfection. But when you normalize failure as part of the pursuit, the shame disappears. You laugh, you learn, you adapt. Struggle stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like progress. Every mistake becomes a milestone. Every loss becomes leverage. You don't fear the fall. You welcome the insight. You stop playing not to lose and start playing to grow. The discomfort of falling short is temporary, but the regret of never trying, that lasts forever. The pain of pushing yourself and failing fades with time, but the pain of wondering what could have been, that's the one that lingers. Regret is the echo of avoided effort. It haunts you because deep down, you knew you could have done more. That's why embracing the struggle is urgent. It's how you silence regret before it takes root. You may fall, you may fail, but at least you'll know you gave life everything you had. And that knowledge is freedom.
4. Growth happens at the edge. Real transformation never happens in the comfort zone. It happens when your muscles shake, when your voice trembles, when you're scared, but you do it anyway. Growth isn't born from ease, it's born from confrontation. Not with others, but with yourself. When you stand at the edge of your limits, your body reacts. Your heart races, your thoughts rebel, and your instincts scream retreat. But transformation is not in retreat. It's in the trembling steps forward, in the vulnerable moments when you don't feel ready but choose action anyway. These moments are sacred. They're the thresholds of evolution, and they require courage, not comfort. Progress begins the moment you stop needing things to be easy. The obsession with ease is a modern trap. We're conditioned to seek convenience, shortcuts, and instant gratification. But ease rarely builds character. The minute you let go of needing a smooth path is the minute you unlock a different kind of power, the power to adapt, to endure, to overcome. Life gets lighter not because the burden disappears, but because you grow strong enough to carry it. By rejecting the need for ease, you become the kind of person who can face anything without flinching. You grow when you say yes to the challenge, yes to the pain of stretching beyond what you thought was possible. Every breakthrough is preceded by tension. The mind wants safety, but the soul wants expansion. Saying yes to a challenge is saying yes to pain, but also to purpose. It's deciding that your potential matters more than your comfort. This is where you meet the parts of yourself that have been asleep, your drive, your grit, your boldness. They awaken only when tested. And each time you stretch past what you thought you could endure, you redefine what's possible. You become resilient by choosing pressure, by running toward the resistance, not away from it. Resilience is forged in pressure. It doesn't come from avoiding pain, it comes from engaging with it, from sitting with the discomfort and learning how to stay steady. When you run toward resistance, you stop being at the mercy of fear. You choose to meet difficulty on your own terms. This is more than bravery, it's ownership. You become someone who doesn't just endure pressure, but thrives in it. You turn life's weight into a sharpening stone rather than a crushing force. The edge of your comfort zone isn't the end. It's the beginning of who you're meant to become. We often treat discomfort like a danger zone, as if it's something to avoid. But in truth, that edge is where your real life begins. Everything you admire, resilience, confidence, purpose, clarity, lives just beyond the perimeter of what you find familiar. It's not about being reckless or pushing too far too fast. It's about honoring that edge, walking toward it with open eyes. That's where your dormant capacities wake up. That's where transformation roots itself and begins to bloom. The edge isn't a barrier, it's a gateway.
5. Make discomfort a habit, not a hurdle. Don't wait for hardship to find you. Train for it now. Choose discomfort daily in small, intentional ways. Life will challenge you, whether you're ready or not. But the wise prepare. They don't leave resilience to chance or wait for a breakdown to build strength. Instead, they engineer discomfort into their routine. They know that growth isn't something you stumble into, it's something you sculpt. By choosing controlled discomfort each day, you condition your nervous system, discipline your mind, and prepare your spirit for whatever comes. Training for adversity before it arrives doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you powerful. Wake up earlier than you want. Say no when it's easier to please. Speak truth even if your voice shakes. These small acts of discomfort become rituals of transformation. Each choice, seemingly insignificant, reinforces a deep inner message: I can do hard things. The morning alarm that cuts your sleep, the boundary that earns disapproval, the truth that shakes your voice, these are not just habits, they are declarations. With each repetition, you chip away at your fear of discomfort. You prove to yourself that pressure doesn't break you, it builds you. And the more often you face small resistance, the more equipped you are for the big storms. Discomfort is like a muscle. The more you train it, the more capable you become. You don't start by lifting the heaviest weight. You begin with what you can bear and increase the load over time. The same applies to discomfort. It's not about jumping into the deep end. It's about deliberate exposure, regular practice, and consistent challenge. When you stretch your limits consistently, those limits expand. Your capacity grows. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. Over time, you begin to welcome discomfort, not as a punishment, but as a sign of progress. Over time, discomfort won't break you. It will become your baseline, your weapon, your edge. Eventually, discomfort stops feeling like friction. It starts to feel like familiarity. And in that familiarity, you find power. You start to notice that others break where you stay calm, that while they panic, you breathe. Discomfort no longer surprises you. It sharpens you. It becomes part of your rhythm, your philosophy. You become someone others turn to in crisis, not because you're lucky, but because you're trained. You've turned your edge into armor, your suffering into strength. When the world throws chaos your way, you'll already be battle-tested, and that's when you become unshakable. This is the true reward of embracing discomfort. When life hits hard, and it will, you're not shattered, you're ready. Not because life got easier, but because you got tougher. Because you've practiced discomfort like a craft, and it's shaped you into someone steady, focused, and resilient. The storms still come, but now you meet them with calm. You know who you are in the chaos. You've earned that peace. And in a world full of noise, avoidance, and fragility, that inner strength is a rare and priceless kind of power. Discomfort is the path no one wants, but everyone who walks it becomes someone others admire. You can keep chasing ease, or you can start building strength. You can stay where it's warm, or step into the fire and forge yourself into something greater. Growth doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing hard things consistently, on purpose. So what will it be? Another day of comfort or the first day of transformation?
If this spoke to something deep inside you, subscribe now and start living on your edge, because that's where your power lives.